absolutely thrilled to be here with my dear friend and colleague, Eben Pagan. And for those of you that don't know Eben has been building these businesses for a couple of decades. He's one of the mentors that I look to when I'm wanting to get really real with myself and what this thing called digital marketing is. Eben's a husband, he's a father, he's an investor, he's, as you can tell, an art collector, he's a coach. He started his online business in 2001 from his bedroom. All he had was a computer, and he was selling a book of dating advice. He actually built a company to 80 full-time employees, did over 30 million in sales, and in 2007 offered his first course on how to grow a business. Built that business up to 10 million, has been on stages and worked with Tony Robbins, Larry King, all kinds of incredible thought leaders. And Eben's got, I think, just a really fresh, but also super traditional and real and energetic understanding of growing a business and attracting clients and enrolling clients. And Eben, I'm just so excited to bring your wisdom to our community today.
Well, it's great to be here. It's fun to be on live. It's fun to be doing this whole thing, virtually.
It sure is. It sure is. And we've got women from all over the world and all kinds of different backgrounds who are healers and coaches and mentors, stepping into their authority for the first time, learning how to enroll clients. Some of them have some clients, some of them are just getting started. And I'm curious, how did you come to be so aligned with your own wisdom of enrolling clients in sales? You're like, when you and I met I'm just going to get real right away. When you and I met at Burning Man.
All right, now we're getting real.
You and I literally met at Burning Man, and I don't even know if you remember this, but you were talking about, and we had this conversation out in the middle of the playa in one of those art houses. And you and I were talking about how there are people that are destined to be our clients. They're destined to be our clients. There's an energetic, there's almost like a soul agreement. And it's not about setting aside the practical. It's not about forgetting about sales or ignoring, the importance of the actual enrollment conversation. But I want to hear some of the real stuff of you think a lot and you really go deep with yourself and with your own integrity, with your own alignment. How did you come to have the philosophy that you have around enrollment and sales and really getting clients? I mean, you've served tens of thousands of paying clients over the years, and you're reaching hundreds of thousands of people.
Okay. So quick version, then I'll just tell you a little of my story. I had hippie parents, and I grew up in Oregon out in the backwoods. Okay. And I had no friends that were rich. I was a long-haired rock and roll guitar player. Okay. That's what I was up to, who made a maximum of $75 a week, and as a guitar player. And so I got into my 20s and I said, I want to have a car that cost more than $300 or $400. And my first place was a little trailer, and I wanted to have success in my life. And I looked around and I said, okay, how do you do this? And I had no rich friends. I didn't know. So I got a real estate license, assuming, rich people have something to do with real estate. And then I proceeded to sell 1 1/3 homes my first year in real estate.
1 1/3.
1 1/3, make a couple of $1,000s. And that was because my broker felt bad for me and let me participate in a sale that she made. And I think I made $2,000 or $3,000 my whole first year. And what I realized when I got into real estate was, it looked like everyone was driving Lexuses and, they had these glamorous lifestyles and wore nice clothes. But what I realized very quickly is that you didn't just need to get a real estate license, you also need to get clients. So I started going to seminars and reading books and learning about marketing. And the first marketing that I did, the first ads that I ran, got 0 calls from clients. I spent time and money. I did mailers. I tried all these things and nothing worked. And so it was all out of basic desperation that I had to go and learn, how this whole world worked. And the bottom line is, a few years later, I'd moved to a new city, and I finally had gotten a pretty good job. And then I wound up losing that job within a few months, and I had to just start over on my own. And I started a little coaching and consulting business. And it was because I had to. Like literally, I had no income and I just had to go out and figure out how to make it happen. And so I took what I had learned about sales and marketing for that last few years, and I went out and started getting clients. And I don't know, Sage, there was something about it had to work that made it work. Yeah. And that's when I got my first few clients and I started making enough to pay my bills. And, and then, fast forward, about, to a few years after that, I wrote this book of dating advice, and my good friend Dean Jackson showed me what he was doing, putting ebooks and doing information products online. And I put that online and then took what I had learned about getting clients, and that took off and became very, very successful. Mm-hmm. And, and then like the second part of the story is I've been a coach for about 25 years. Okay. I was a coach for 20 years before I realized that it was even really important that I was a coach. Right. I like literally I was a dating coach. I was a real estate coach. I've been a productivity and like an entrepreneur coach. I've coached founders and CEOs. And what I found myself doing is over the years, as people came to me to learn about how to publish courses online, how to build businesses, they would always say, Eben, what's the first step? Like, what do I need to do first? And I would say, you need to become a coach, because that's like the door that opens, that gets, everybody in. And then kind of in a roundabout way to answer your question, what I learned is that, when you're working for someone else, when you're an employee of a company, which we all go through that phase and we all have to be there, what no one ever tells you is that what you're calling like this enrollment conversation, like how to do outreach, how to do marketing, how to get people attracted to want to do business with you, how to get people to say, man, I want to pay you and I want you to help me to live a better life, that these are really important skills if you want to be successful in life. They're really important. They're key to everything in a lot of ways. And so you have to learn them. And I learned it through necessity, because I wanted more success in my life and because I had to. But, and we can go any direction you want from there, but coaching and enrollment, very important.
Let's just have you guys type yes in the chat, or let us know if you are in that situation where you have to learn it. That was me too. I was living in an RV when I started my business, and now I'm in a, a couple $1 million home here in Santa Cruz, 2 blocks from the ocean. And I started my business, sharing a laptop with my then husband. That was how broke we were. And, there's a time and a place for that necessity of just, we have to do it. And I just want to acknowledge that and honor that for many of you guys. I also want to honor and acknowledge what Eben just said about like the core skill, the core commitment that we make is to actually help people. Reed Tracy's a friend of mine. He's the CEO of Hay House. And he's always like, people are always asking me how to sell a best-selling book. And his answer is write a good book. And it's like, how do you get clients? Well, do good work with your clients, right? Like to come from that place of, I want to get better. I want to actually change lives. I'm super committed to that is like key. And when we can remember that's who we are and that's where we're coming from, we don't have to end up in that place where we're feeling salesy or sleazy, because like your work needs to be out. And I think Eben and I would both put a stake in the ground for you guys, like remembering that that's the core. Your work needs to be out in the world supporting people, because we're living at a time when the planet is a little bit sideways. Eben, what was the name of your first ebook?
Double Your Dating.
Do you guys like, that is such a hot name, Double Your Dating, right? I heard of this book called Stop Divorce Now, this ebook called Stop Divorce. Do you know who wrote that?
Well, Stop Your Divorce was a book that Dean Jackson.
That's what I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
Helped Homer McDonald put online. And it's how a lot of this stuff really started. Like Dean was the pioneer. He figured this stuff out.
Dean's amazing. Ago. And you took that in, you saw what he was doing. You're like, I can do my own version. I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel. I'm not going to try to be a rebel here. I'm going to just like learn from him. And your title was so clear, right? Double Your Dating. And I just want to name for some of you guys, we have clients here, we have women here, we have students here who are very metaphysical, very deep. Like the simpler you can make your marketing language, the simpler you can make the title of that free session that you're offering people in order to pull clients in, the webinars, the masterclasses, the video challenges, whatever you're doing, the simpler you can make that. I've seen Eben, even though Eben is one of the deepest divers I know, his stuff, like his top marketing is simple. Like people understand what it means right off the bat. It's not making them stop and think. And I really learned that partly from watching you, Eben. And let's just riff. Like, I would love to
Yeah.
hear.
Can I speak
Like,
to that a little bit?
yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So I have a lot of, amazingly, I started out teaching, being a dating coach for men, and it was almost all men in my programs. Literally, there would be a woman that would be on very rarely, to now it's like 80 or 90% women who are in my programs. So I've watched this whole thing, and, now I'm married and I have a daughter, and there's a lot of
I
women running
love
around
your
in my
wife.
house.
She's one of my favorite humans on the whole planet. So
I love her too. I
you're
am
a
so
smart man.
fortunate.
Yeah, smart man.
I met her at Burning Man as well, which is
It's
kind
a
of
good place
interesting.
to meet people.
It is. It is an interesting place to meet people. But anyway, so the point is that over the years, I've had more and more spiritual healers and teachers and, health coaches and wellness experts that have come and become my clients. And it's what I notice is that the higher the consciousness of a person, the more they see truly the spiritual growth potential that they can offer another person. They really want to help people grow emotionally, holistically. They want to help people get to the next level. And so what they do is they offer things in books that are called things like, how to be spiritually fulfilled, or, you know what I'm saying? Like how to get your soul's needs met, and these really big things, which are wonderful. But what they forget is that real human beings, spiritually developed human beings, by the way, who are looking for a coach, somebody who would actually want to hire you and invest $5 or $10 or $20 or $50,000 for a coaching package, where that person is at is they usually have a specific need. Okay. They might be very spiritual. They might be very successful, but they're lonely and they want to find a romantic partner. Or they're not feeling well. Maybe they're doing well in business and maybe their family's doing well, but they've neglected their health. And now they weigh 30 or 50 pounds too much. And in that part of their life where they have that need, where they're lonely or where they're financially, maybe their health is great and their relationship's great, but they just need to now, start a business or get a good job, where that place is that they have need, they're not in a place where they're looking for the high level spiritual wisdom and advice. They're looking for something practical, like, what do I eat to lose the 20 pounds? Or what do I put in my personal ad to attract this great partner that I want? They want something that's practical. Now, if you can be somebody that teaches them something practical and you really get it, you know what I'm saying? And you have some spiritual vision, that's really the combination. And in a lot of ways, I mean, I know you probably do this too. In a lot of ways, this is my work, is, teaching people that have a big vision and a big sense of purpose and a big sense of wanting to help the world and heal people and make things better, to just become pragmatic. Because, for me, I've created a lot of programs on inner game and personal development and creative growth and so forth. But the people that have gone through those programs first came and bought a course from me about how to become more productive, or how to get a date, or how to grow their business. They came for something more practical, and then they stayed for the bigger thing. And if you look at the big teachers out there, the successful ones, they usually got started earlier with something that was practical. I mean, we both know Marie Forleo, right? She started teaching women and, and men about dating. And it's like, you just teach people practical things and then include the bigger picture. That's the way to do this.
Yes, 100%. I could not agree more. And we're having these conversations with our clients every day. How do we actually set up your top marketing to be magnetic? Because people are searching online and they're actually, think about it. When you're online, do you really want to be sitting on there for hours, or are you in the business? Are you conserving your brain calories, right? So you're actually trying to grab people's attention who are out there conserving their own brain calories. And so your marketing has to be so clear. And Eben's got a great example of that with his, Get Clients Live training that he's got going on. We'll tell you about that in a few minutes, but I really want to emphasize this, that your top marketing, it's that sign on the door that goes, oh my gosh, that's a problem I want to solve. and you get to be spiritual, you get to be deep, you get to be philosophical, you get to be all of those things when your clients come to you. But, our success, here at Women Rocking Business is 100% built on the fact that I decided long ago to make my marketing all sort of 12-year-old language translatable, right? Stand out online, enrollment mastery for women, right? Just like the most simple, basic words. And so I really want to underline that and acknowledge you for that. And I also know that you've got an understanding of that dynamic when someone is thinking about hiring you. Once you get into that enrollment conversation, that you have come to master over the last couple decades. And I'm wondering what advice you would give to women who are embarking on that skill of learning sales, and they feel a little bit of a push-pull around it inside of themselves. Maybe they've been burned by salespeople in their own lives, and they definitely don't want to be that, and they don't want to be judged, and they're finding that edge for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. This is, it's a challenging one, right? Because we've all met the smooth, charismatic, like the slick talking narcissist salesperson. We very well probably dated him a couple of times, maybe even married him, and learned, oh, wait a minute, those kinds of people are horrible. That's just, I hate those kind of people. I don't want to be one of those kind of people. And so then it makes us go I want to stay away from sales and marketing. And I feel like that's a tragedy, because right now, around the whole world, right, there's one universal thing that's happening, and that is that everybody's going through transformation. Everybody's going through change. Everyone's trying to figure out what's going on. Last year in 3 weeks, we went from everyone thought the world was one way to everyone got online and got into Zoom and said, oh, we're in a different world right now. And then you go after that, and we're not going back, we're not going back. Now, I've been virtual for 20 years, right? I haven't had an office in 20 years. So for me, it's this is just a natural progression. But for most people, they're going, okay, what is my career going to be in the future? How are my friendships going to work? How am I going to learn the new skills that I need to learn? There's this whole, the digital economy and the knowledge and technology economy is becoming very real. And we're all going to see these things. Online education is growing like crazy. All this stuff is happening. And what most people lack right now is they lack clarity and direction and leadership. They don't know which decisions to make. And if you, as a teacher, as a coach, as a consultant, can help them, guide them to make good decisions that are good for them, you can be incredibly valuable. And if you can learn I would call it professional consultative sales and marketing methods, marketing with a heart, and sales with a heart, it's so useful to people. Okay. It's so useful to people. And the key to it, in my opinion, there's a couple of things. I mean, one key is you just have to start asking more people what it is that they're trying to achieve and what it is that they're trying to avoid. You have to use every opportunity when you're talking to a person standing in line at Starbucks, when you're talking to someone online, when you're talking to a friend, just asking them, what are you trying to achieve right now in your life? What are you trying to achieve? That question alone is super useful to most people, because everybody's all confused and they go, oh, you know what? It's a good question. Let me think about that. What am I trying to achieve? And you help them get in touch with their vision, and then asking them, what are you trying to avoid? What are you trying to prevent, and keep from happening? And they go, that's a good question. Well, I'm trying to prevent, this. And when they say those two things, what they're trying to achieve and what they're trying to avoid, they've given you the greatest gifts to motivating them, because then you can help them take action, and you can ask them, okay, what next steps do you need to take in your life? And then help them see that by taking those next steps, whether they be starting an exercise routine or a spiritual practice or eating right or going out on a date or whatever the thing is that they need to do in their life, or, getting a job or starting that business, that it's going to help them get the thing they want and avoid the thing that they don't want. And that's the core of what we teach in our, in our coaching and also in our kind of client enrollment process. But once I learned that I have fantasies about what people want and what they want to avoid, and they're usually never right. Getting married has helped me a lot, because, I always think that I know what Annie is trying to do and what she's thinking and whatever. And then when we start arguing or we get into a conflict or whatever, if I have the foresight, if I have the presence of mind to say, okay, wait a minute, I'm thinking that you're saying that because of this reason, or what I'm interpreting you mean is this. Is that what you're trying to say? She almost never says yes. I'm almost always wrong. And it's the same thing with clients. I've learned now to become very, I would call it humble. And I just don't assume that I know what they want or what they should do. I just always start with, okay, what are you trying to achieve? What's the vision? Where are you going? What's the outcome you want? Why are you trying to do that? Let me see if I can understand. Okay, great. What are you trying to avoid? What are you trying to prevent in your life? Okay, why? If you prevent that, what else happens? I try to just get inside their world and then say, all right, now what's the next step for you? What do you need to do? And then if I can help them line that all up, it's the most clarifying and valuable conversation that they've had. I get to learn all this stuff. And then it helps me to do sales and marketing in a much more ethical and, real kind of way.
Yeah. You said so much in there, and I hope you're taking notes, because that is the heart of sales. And we teach something really similar, right? What's the gap between your potential client, or even just a prospect, or somebody you're talking to, or someone you love? What's the gap between their vision and what's in the way, or what they're wanting to avoid? Because in that gap, that's where the solution that you provide can come into play, right? If you can help them move from the challenges, the what do they want to avoid, to closer to their vision, then it can be an absolute win-win for both people. It's not about you hard selling anything. It's not about you convincing anything. It's about you saying, hey, I would be honored to support you to get there if you ever want support, right? Or if you are looking for
Excellent.
support. And here's how I see that happening. And, that's kind of the beginning. I mean, Eben has many, many days worth of content in his head that he can teach you on this topic. But I really encourage all of you to see this opportunity to become masterful at sales as a service. Because whether or not somebody ever buys something from you, being asked those deeper questions, it's everything. It's everything in this world where there are so many forces pulling on us as individuals, so many distractions, so much materialism, so much bigger, better, faster, stronger. If you can be the one that penetrates that and says, what do you actually want? What's your vision? What are you moving toward? What do you want to achieve? You're going to be someone who really matters to that human that you're talking to. And like Eben said, to get out of that place of, I already know the answer, because so rarely do we really know when it comes to another incredible human being. And wow, mic drop right there. If you got value from this episode, I invite you to hit the subscribe button so that we can get you weekly business trainings in your inbox to help you grow your impact and your income the women's way. Head over into the Women Rocking Business Sisterhood Facebook group and introduce yourself there, because women go so much further when we go together. Just click the button to subscribe, and we will see you on the other side.